Hi, I'm Lalit. I am the janitor and the founder of Oxy Labs. And I'm going to start with a question. How many of you here are developers? And how many of you here are self-funded independent developers?
Self-funded?
Yes. It's great. As in, no VC funded, not with a big company. You're making it. So I bring to you the story of a team from the other end of the world. Very small team based in India. Yes, first slide, please. We started off as me, 2 devs, 1 developer, 1 graphics designer. The graphics designer was a high school dropout. Didn't even finish high school, let alone college. The developer was a Mechie, first-time software developer. And what they had was incredible passion. They had incredible passion, and they had that juice to them for developing for the world, something that was not accessible to developers in India. So we got together, and it's been a phenomenal year for us. We are loving the worldwide exposure, and where we are today is we have 3 apps: PhotoBuzz, BuddyList, CoolPix. PhotoBuzz is a visual messaging app. We combine photos and animations to create a video experience on the profile. BuddyList is a utility app, and CoolPix is an innovative photo browser. Next slide, please. To give you a little bit about our statistics, we have 10 million installs. We started in January, first app launched in March, and since March, now we have 10 million installs. 1 million daily actives, 15% growth month after month. As far as our demographics, 40% traffic is from Europe, 10% is from US, 30% from Latin America, and 20% others. Revenue-wise, we are profitable. There's a lot of room to improve, but right now we are focusing on growth. As far as containers, we started with Orchid, High Five pretty much the day 1. And recently, we launched our apps on Netlog, Ning, Friendster, and MySpace. There are a few more containers we're trying to get on. We have submitted to. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our most popular app, PhotoBuzz. As I mentioned before, it enables users to buzz their friends with visual and flash animations. We take these flash animations and the receiver's photo and create a video experience on the slideshow, on the profile. It started off as an action-based messaging app, where hugging, kissing, so on and so forth. And it quickly evolved into a greetings-based messaging app. And I'll talk to why that evolution happened, how the application grew over time. Stats, about over 1 billion buzzes have been sent, 5 million buzzes sent daily, and about 10% daily actives. Next slide, please. So I'm going to walk you through the user experience. It's pretty simple. People come to the Canvas page. They can select from one of multiple cute animations. If they want to see a preview, they can select the play button. The preview window pops up. They see the animation play. They hit select friends. They can even customize by writing a personal message and hit send. Next slide, please. And this is the profile experience. On the profile, we have a player. It shows a slideshow of all the animations users have received superimposed on the photo of the receiver to create the video experience. So now I would like to talk, next slide. What I would like to discuss is things we learned while developing for OpenSocial. And mind you, our experiences were those of first-time developers developing applications from scratch. We had not developed applications for any other platform. This was starting for OpenSocial from scratch, and no experience in building large-scale, web apps. So develop once, deploy many. We've heard a lot of people talk about it today. Good news is it's possible. The tough part, at least for us, was that there's a price to be paid. When we first developed our first app, we were hacking code, and that evolved into an app. We tried porting it, and oh boy, it was painful for us. Since then, we have evolved. We have put in practices that has cut down our deployment times significantly. Where it will take us a few days to get the messaging channels working and so on and so forth. Now we can do it in a few hours. So some of the things that work for us is abstracting out container-specific dependencies, so that when you're writing your application code, your application code is not changing from container to container, but the underlying driver changes, right? Reusable component libraries. This is pretty simple. All of you, I'm sure, are using this. That's what has helped us out, right? Friend selector components, content selector components, and various messaging UIs for different containers. We've made them in reusable component libraries. Abstracting out analytics. So in each container, you may want to measure different things. You may even want to provide or swap or experiment with different analytics providers. You're seeing an advent of ad networks, which are also analytics providers. So you may want to try things out. So rather than tinkering your code, what worked for us was that we abstracted it out, and now we can easily plug in the analytics engine of our own choice. Another thing that worked out well for us was we started developing for Orkut and Hi-Fi first. They were multilingual networks. We do support Portuguese, Spanish, and English today, but it didn't always start out that way. We wanted to focus on our application rather than starting to focus on internationalization right up front. So what we did was we tried to reduce dependency on the language. And the way to do it is a simplistic navigational UI, which has visual cues, worked really well for us. Our users could get to the application. Even if they did not understand the language, they could get visual cues in the application and figure it out for themselves. This did not reach out to all the users, but majority of the users. It gave us the opportunity to figure out where we got traction and optimize on that. What we also did was leveraged learned interaction points. So UI elements which users are used to within a social network, we tried to bring some of those into our application, so it made it even easier for users to understand how to interact with our application. Third point, experiment and adapt. Early movers definitely have an advantage. We wouldn't be where we are in Hi-Fi and Orkut today if we had not started day one. And now what we're doing is we're launching in several containers and focusing on where we are finding traction. And thing is, pay close attention to your numbers, and what users are telling you, because your numbers don't lie, and users are never wrong. Try things. If you're not seeing the results, adapt. If you don't see them, move on. There are tons of containers, for you to experiment with. Next slide is viral loops and usage loops, right? So, as many of you will know, and what we noticed was viral loops and messaging channels vary from container to container. Not only do they vary from container to container, and their effectiveness varies from container to container, and over the life cycle of your app. As your app evolves over time, you will see that different messaging channels are performing differently. So adapt. What we did was we adapted. We changed our UI over time to get the maximum out of our viral channels. The next step is usage loops, right? While viral loops are very helpful for us to get additional adoption, usage loops is what is helping us drive retention and engaging users. So I'll give you an example. When we first launched PhotoBuzz on Hi-Fi, we got excellent traction. We were growing just as we had launched the application. But after a while, we started seeing growth going down and daily usage going down. So what we tried to figure out what was going on. We started experimenting. So the first thing what we did was we started giving users suggestions about buzzes they can send to their friends. On profile, on Canvas, every interaction page, we got their attention. We started giving them suggestions. We started with a generic suggestion. We put a flash banner with 4 of our most commonly used buzzes and with an action send. That worked out really well, gave us 10% gains. Next, what we did was gave them personalized suggestions, which were specific to each user and their relationship with the owner and the past relationship with the app. And that recently we tried, and that has given us a 25% engagement boost. Next slide, please. So the last one is, making sure that you prepare for scale. I wish we had done that. When PhotoBuzz was hitting the hockey stick, we were doing about 150,000 to 200,000 users a day. We started going down for hours on end, and this happened over a month and a half. We have come a long way since then. We have a scalable architecture which is based on MySQL, but moving forward, what we're doing is, since we're a small team, we have started working with solutions like App Engine. A solution like App Engine can significantly cut down your drain on your resources that is required to build a scalable backend ops. App Engine does require you to write scalable code up front, but that does give, we believe that it will provide to be beneficial over long term. Thank you.
So basically, I want to make sure everybody has a chance, but we've got to keep it short on time so we can get to food and all the other great things today. So if anybody has like 1 or 2 questions that maybe you'd like to ask, does anybody have a question you'd like to maybe ask him? And basically say it loud enough that he can hear it, and what he'll do is he'll repeat it back to everyone and he'll answer it.
If you're using on App Engine, are you implementing a whole container there or just kind of the data stuff? What's your structure for using App Engine?
Okay, so the question is how we are using App Engine. So for our App Engine, given Python is new to us, so what we did was we split our application. We started using the visual part of the application was done in PHP, but we did a JSON RPC API, and we're using the App Engine for our data store on the back end. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Could you again quickly recap how you do your analytics that you abstract out?
Okay, so the abstraction of analytics, so I'm not an engineer, but I'll try to answer that. So the abstraction of analytics is based into the abstraction layer we built up top, right, where different calls have callbacks built into them, right? And we say track, it's a tracking function. Each tracking function then has a driver code. In the driver code, we can plug in different analytics engines in that.
Thank you, everybody.